What is the difference between the cells? Oh my God, what is the difference? Why do I need one over the other? Right? Because you always ask, what tray do I use? And there's no answer to it. It's up to you, right? Here's a 288. Here's like the biggest one. Let me get a 50. So 50, we have a 288. Which one takes lettuce? Anybody? Anybody? Either one, it doesn't matter. You can put lettuce in this. You can put lettuce in this. That's not the question, right? It's what's your goal? What's happening, right? What's your farm like? You know, how big are your areas? Okay? So like, I'll give you a good example, like celery, right? Let's say you're really good at germinating celery, right? You can put it in a 50, grow it nice and big, because let's say it's the middle of winter and you want to keep it in the tray as long as possible and get it as big as you can before you transplant it out. Well, then use the biggest cell you can, because the space in your hoop house, let's say you're heating it and you have other stuff growing in there that you're making money on, well, grow it in here as long as you can. Maybe pot it onto here, I don't know. But let's say the space out there isn't worth as much, but you're starting everything in a germ chamber where you have very little space. Do it in a 288. Plus, celery doesn't germinate well. It has a low germination rate. So you put it in a tray like this, and then you're not taking up soil. You're not wasting your expensive potting soil. You're not wasting your space. You're getting 288, right? That would be 6 of these, right? Plus way more soil to start the same amount, right? Come with me. I'll show you the celery, right? Here's celery. We get very good germination, but we have a germ chamber. But we also don't want to waste space, so we started in a 288, right? Because we don't know if it's going to germinate well, you know? Then we just pop it out using a popper, and then you can pot it on, or you can put it straight in the ground, right? But let's say you're a home gardener and you want to start your lettuce early, and when you put it out, you want your garden as beautiful as possible because you don't want to wait and you want nice big lettuce to start. Well, use a 50, right? Let's say you plant your lettuce very close together on a farm. Your greenhouse space is very expensive because you don't have a lot of it. Well, use a 288, use a 200, use a 128, whatever you want. You know, that's up to you. But it's going to be in the tray a lot shorter. So it means you got to plant it out quicker, right? And I can't tell you how long, because that's going to depend on how much sun it's getting, right? What the temperature is in your prop house, all of that. So it's something you're going to have to learn over time, right? So there isn't a rule about which you use, right? That's not the choice of the tray. I think people think like, well, the tray choice is related to the vegetable. No, it's related to all those other factors about your space, your germination chamber space, or maybe you got heating pads you're using, table space, and the value of the space out there. Because if you want to hold it in a tray as long as possible, the bigger the cell. Also, wind strip trays. You can hold in a wind strip tray much longer than you can in like a regular vacuum form tray. But regardless, maybe you like to put your stuff in the field and then be able to harvest it quick, right? Maybe you say, you know what? I keep a big prop house because I like my kale plants nice and big. So when they go out into the field, I'm going to be harvesting them within weeks, not months. So you're starting them in a big tray, right? So you can put kale in this. You can put kale in this, right? There's no rule. Anyway, that's the thing about cell size. You make the choice, you know? You know, it's about making your farm efficient and profitable, and your choice of trays is going to help with that. And it may change over time. It changes for us, right? You may start lettuce in this, you know, beginning of the summer, you know, and in the winter you started in something like this, or close to it, a 72 or like that. So it can change depending on what's going on, depending on how much space there is out there or space in here, right? Because in the summer, there's lots of space in here. In the spring, there's no space. So you may do this more often. And then as things go out in the field, you can always pot on. All right, so thanks for watching and hope that's helpful and enjoy. See you next time.